Hello and welcome back to another Raise the Vibe with Liz episode. I'm your host, Liz Peterson, and today I have Jeralyn Glass joining me today. We're going to be talking all about sound healing, but first I'm going to go over her bio for all of those who don't know who Jeralyn is, whose ear she has not reached yet. So Jeralyn Glass is an internationally known singer, professor, meditation leader, sound healing practitioner, and crystal singing bowl master alchemist. She has a unique presence with her personal alchemy of classical music, meditation, and high vibrational sound. She has performed on Broadway and on the opera and concert stages of the world, where she is known as a Mozart singer of the first order. Jeralyn established her classical music career in Europe, Japan, and the USA, singing regular in many, many theaters. While living in Europe, Jeralyn created a children's foundation, Kids for Kids, in Munich. Under her artistic leadership, the foundation trained over 180 youth in the performing arts and raised hundreds of thousands of euros to fund an ongoing music therapy program for children in Germany. In 2015, Jeralyn's career path deepened when she lost her only son, her son Dylan, at age 19. Music and sacred sound became her way through the darkness, her compass in navigating grief. Embodying the healing power of sound, Jeralyn performed her Music of the Heart, accompanied by crystal alchemy singing bowls throughout the USA, Australia, and Asia, and stepped into a new career with music. She founded Crystal Cadence, a place for sound healing and transformational voice, and home of the Los Angeles Crystal Tones Singing Bowl Temple, one of the largest displays of crystal alchemy bowls and the top-rated sound healing trainings in the world. Jeralyn is active in the medical community, working closely with the cancer support community in Los Angeles and Maria Shriver's Women's Alzheimer's Movement. She gave the keynote performance at the National Convention of the Compassionate Friends, worked for Beyond Words, performed her high vibrational music for Marianne Williamson's New Year's retreat, presented the opening concert of the Los Angeles Conscious Life Expo, sang Forever Love concert at the Science and Spirituality Conference in Canada, performed her music and meditation concert at From Chaos to Coherence, and again at From Cell to Soul. Boy, Jeralyn, you have worked with some top names: Greg Braden, Dr. Sue Morter, Joe Dispenza. You're one of the 32 leading experts in the Shift Network's Healing Sound Summit. She's led international events and Swimming with Dolphins experience in Bahamas. In addition to her own Healing Sounds concert with her new album, Vibrance, and then following a wildly successful online series, The Sacred Science of Sound, in 2018, Jeralyn presented the first Sacred Science of Sound live event featuring Daniel Levitin, Lee Harris, Barry Goldstein, Dr. Sue Morter. In 2020, Sacred Science of Sound online event reached over 20,000 people worldwide, with guest speakers Marianne Williamson, Victor Wooten, India Irie, Bruce Lipton, and others. It was fantastic. And she offers private and group sound experiences, teaches transformational voice, and offers her popular crystal alchemy sound healing trainings regularly. So happy to have you, Jeralyn. Wow. What a bio. What a resume. What a career.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you very much for inviting me. And sound vibration is it. It's the language of humanity. It's the language of our hearts. And it's a medicine. It's a balsam that really can transform everything.
Wow. So beautiful. When did you first know that this was going to be your life's journey in music and
Music.
sound?
Yeah, music I knew when I was a little girl. So I have a distinct memory of myself at age 4. And I grew up in the San Fernando Valley in California, in Southern California. And I remember twirling around, holding onto our post on our driveway and just twirling around and singing. And it felt so good. I felt so free. And I remember distinctly hearing a vibration, hearing a voice that said, "This is going to be your life's path." And that vibrational trust, or that vibrational voice, has accompanied me throughout my life. So it was pretty clear. And then when I was 11, I sang a solo in the sixth grade choir, and people said to my parents, well, what are you going to do? She's talented. And, in at that time, there was no America's Got Talent or The Voice or anything like that. And my mom took me to, she said to me, Jeralyn, there's two things that are going to happen and they may change your life. And one was that my parents bought a piano, which was incredible. And then she took me to a voice teacher who lived quite close to us, but happened to be a well-known teacher. And she had dubbed the voice of Ava Gardner in the MGM musical Showboat. And she'd also done all the dubbings for Lucille Ball, and she herself had appeared on Broadway. So I came to her with my mom, and she was like, well, she's very young, and she hadn't taken anyone that young at that time. So I'll start her with half an hour. And we started with a half an hour a week, and it quickly turned into 2 half-hours a week, and then 45 minutes, and then 2 times 45 minutes. So she, Annette Warren is her name, she really became my first mentor and taught me how to use a very healthy and natural way to sing and a stable breath support. And this is a technique that I've used all my life. So it's pretty great. And from then, I knew that to be on Broadway was one of my dreams, and it happened, and it happened very quickly. And I've been realizing just that when you follow your dreams, and my dad used to say, if there's something you really love to do, and you recognize, okay, what is the price I have to pay? So what are the things I have to give up, or what are the things I have to do in order to make that happen? And he said, if you look at that list and you say, I'm willing to pay that price, then go after it with everything you are. And that's what I did. And so I went to New York after college, and within a year I had a national tour, and then I did a production of Jesus Christ Superstar. I played Mary Magdalene, and then I got a Broadway contract. We also toured the United States and came back to play on Broadway in My Fair Lady, starring Rex Harrison, and I was his upstairs maid. So,
That's awesome.
it all happened as I look back now and begin to trust that our lives really do go the way they're supposed to go. And if we can accept that and flow with that, it's truly a beautiful and very fulfilling ride. So
That's beautiful, Geraldine. It really sounds like with the support of your parents and teachers that you really did get that one thing that led to the next, that led to the next, those gifts as we're going along our journey that really lead to the next best thing for us to give us what we need, for the next thing.
and when we're in it, Liz, it's not that necessarily that we recognize that, but the older that I've gotten, it's really clear that when we can really hear our hearts, and when we can listen to the wisdom of our gut, that really will help to take us where we're supposed to go.
How has that informed you along your path, listening to your intuition and your gut?
Yeah, great question. Very, very much so. This whole path. So after I was on Broadway, I happened to be reading in a magazine, and it said bel canto seminars. And I remember that Annette, my teacher, she had always exposed me to great music. So we worked on the Great American Songbook. We worked on Gershwin and Rodgers and Hart and Harold Arlen, all the great American composers. And then she also exposed me to early Italian songs, to wonderful German lieder, Schubert and Schumann and Brahms, to French art song, Debussy and Fauré. And she gave me a broad background in music. How is music this language of humanity? It doesn't matter what language that we're singing in. We can touch hearts through the vibrations of the music. And she exposed me to opera also. And so I saw this announcement that said bel canto seminars, and my interest was piqued. And so I created an audition tape for it. You had to have 6 Italian arias, and I learned and put that together, and they accepted me. And so I went over to Italy, and I studied with 2 famous Italian opera singers, Carlo Bergonzi and Renata Tebaldi.
Wow.
And when I got there, they gave me the key role of Gilda to play in Rigoletto. And it was as if, I just remember it was as if someone went bonk. And, that I just knew, okay, this is where I'm supposed to go now. And as part of that journey from Broadway into classical music, I had a wonderful coach in New York who was also a composer. And he just said to me, Geraldine, your voice has a lot of potential in it, and you should consider maybe looking into classical music. So that seed had already been planted together with the bel canto seminars. So I came back to New York and I applied to Juilliard and I got a scholarship and really studied classical music. And that was it. And then after that, I was accepted into a program in Zurich at the Opera House in Zurich. And away I went. I packed my suitcases just as I had as a young person. I packed my suitcases from California to New York, and then from New York, then to Zurich. And again, it all happened pretty rapidly. The transition was smooth for me. Normally it would go the other way around, that you'd study classical music first and then go into Broadway, but mine went the other way. And then I started a career in Europe and lived there for 20 years and created this kids foundation that you read about, which was just a beautiful, beautiful experience to also encourage young people to come together as a community, and with their gifts and their talents, they could serve others. So that was super fun. And all of it was good. All of it is good, whether I'm singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow or an original song like Vibrance that we created for the new album that came out. It actually came out in 2020. It's all good. They're all different vibrations. They're all different ways of expressing what I would say love. And there was a quote that I always loved as a young person that said, music is love in search of a word. And it is. It's when you come down to the essence of all of it, whether it's music that makes you get up and dance, or, lifts your spirits, or music that, goes into your heart and really touches a wounding or a pain and you start crying. The essence of great music is love. And that is that vibration that changes everything, can transform everything and anything for all of us.
That's beautiful. I know that's had that impact on my life. When I am somewhere and I'm listening to a chorus sing and I'm getting goosebumps, or I'm part of the singing experience and it brings me to tears, or just feeling the love or feeling spirit running through my body, or, tapping into the vibrations for meditation or during my practice. How can you discuss like vibration with us and how all these different points over your life has come together to unfold into this sound healing practice for you?
You know, Thank you, Liz. Like, I've learned that everything is energy. Now we hear this more and more, but quantum physics tells us everything is energy, everything is in vibration, and that's what makes up the universe. And that energy gets compressed and compressed and compressed and compressed into human form, and it becomes light and sound vibration. And so we're made of that. And when we talk about if you're feeling ill, there's something that's out of balance, there's something that's not in harmony in your body. And so vibration is really a language that it's important for all of us to pay attention to. Not just the vibe of, how do I feel when that person walks into the room, or, vibration is really what everything is made of. And sometimes, you may find vibrations that are very harmonious together. And sometimes, for example, when you're processing something that can be deep inside you, you may feel like a dissonance, you may feel a discordance, you may feel a jarring. Like when I first started to really work with sound healing, sometimes the sound would sound like nails on a chalkboard. But what I came to recognize is those sounds or those vibrations were simply a reflection of what was going on in me that I wasn't able to put words to. So vibration is a really important language. Whether it's, I'm just thinking, like, a lot of times people will share with me that I'm playing the bowls and their pets are listening, and their pets just go, they're out, so or certain pets don't like some of the higher vibrations. So it's really recognizing what is a vibrational frequency of something, and how does that feel to me. There's never going to be one size fits all. There's never going to be something that says, do this vibration at this moment, and that's going to make you feel this. And especially as I came to work with the crystal bowls, which I discovered 15 years ago. I was traveling with my mom in the Southwest. I was living in Germany, but I came home always a couple times a year. And I heard them and I went, whoa. It was as if I heard this sound vibration that I knew. There was something so familiar, like it just went straight to my heart, and it was like a song that I knew. I knew that sound, and I'd spent my life, um, especially in classical music, you are not amplified, so you don't use a microphone unless you're doing something special outside. But
Wow.
in an opera house, you have to be able, your voice has to be trained. You have to understand what it is that I am a vibrational instrument, and how is it that I can project my voice out of these two tiny vocal cords in this small body in a 3,000 seat theater over a 100-piece orchestra without microphone. And so that was my world. Like, how do I come to that deep centered place in myself? How do I recognize that there is a light, there is an energy that flows through me, and I'm going to amplify that. I'm going to amplify that. And so that had been my world. But to now apply it to the crystal singing bowls, which is a whole nother thing. I began to understand, like, oh wow, okay, I am a singing bowl. This is a singing bowl, and these are pure quartz. And the quartz, as we know, quartz is an amplifier, a transmitter, a receiver. We need it for our cell phones, our computers. It's a very, very powerful mineral, stone, quartz. And so they're made of pure quartz, and that quartz gets infused with semi-precious gemstones like ruby or amethyst, or precious metals like gold or silver, or earth substances like charcoal or frankincense, or minerals of the earth like vanadium. And as those elements, those alchemies, are infused into the bowls at 3.5 to 4,000 degrees and they're fired, they become alchemized. And so when you play those, they are being amplified. And they've only been around 20 years, and they're really the most powerful sound healing tool that I've come across. When I was a young singer, I would travel with some Tibetan bowls. I discovered those in Germany,
Hmm.
and I would take them. And before I had performances, I'd put one on my belly and I'd play it and I'd meditate with it. But when I discovered the crystal bowls, it's a whole different thing, because our bodies are our skeletal structure are more crystalline in nature, and so we as a human being are able to absorb those sounds very easily. Sometimes people will come and hear the bowls and they just start crying, medical doctors, and they don't know what it is that's touched them. And that is the power, what you asked me, that is the power of vibration, that it goes beyond our thinking mind. It goes beyond any words. And like music, it takes us into this place of the sublime, takes us into this place of, oh, it's exquisite, like when I first heard the bowls.
They are magnificent too. I've heard you say also that no bowl is like another, like us. We're all individuals, each one having its own sound and vibration.
It's so true, Liz. I mean, like when you hum or you tone or you sing, nobody else has your fingerprints. Nobody does. Nobody has your personal alchemy. And that's the fun thing. I may have two, let's say there's a bowl with an alchemy called grandmother, which is made of iron oxide. It's very grounding. It's connecting us with ancient wisdom of the earth and with the whole lineage of our grandmothers, the ancient wisdom keepers. And I may have two F bowls, exactly the same tuning, exactly the same size, but they will not play the same. And it's so beautiful. They invite us to be able to be that sensitive, and that I mean, and it's the same. I've talked with um, uh, Dr. Daniel Levitin, who's an expert on your brain and music, who shared with me about being able to see when Steinway pianos came out onto the floor, and how each piano, even though it was the same size and everything, had a whole different, there was a whole different feel or timbre to the instruments. So music invites us to look into the subtle realms. Music invites us to go deeper. And I think that's, especially now during this time of COVID, people have really come inside more. I think it's an invitation, it's been an invitation for all of us to land more inside ourselves, and to check in what's really happening. There's not as many distractions as before.
Yes.
And music invites us to feel those subtle energetic levels. You know, there's so much there's so much to say about that, but no two bowls are the same, just as we are not the same, and we're also not the same on any given day.
Right.
Which is, and it's tuning into, what does it mean, true presence? What does that mean to check in with? How are you today? When you took your walk or you did your yoga today, Liz, how are you?
Right. It's so true. And I'm sure it's like that with the bowls. And something that you said made me question, because you have so many healing videos on YouTube, picking the bowls for specific things. How do you do that? Is it the vibration itself? Is it the key of the bowl? Is it the mineral or the crystal? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yes, I guess I've come to understand I'm a little bit of an alchemy magician when it comes to that, because I get blown away too. Like yesterday, I put together a set for a client, and she gave me a list of all the things that were important to her. She's working with sound healing and just all the qualities that would be important. And I put together a set that, if I said it to you in terms of music, it was in the key of E. So it was in the key of the solar plexus, meaning that it was really about grounding your sense of confidence and personal power, self-expression, self-esteem. And the alchemy was green heart aura gold. So it was activating big time the heart. And it was a big bowl, very grounding, a 12-inch bowl. So it was super, super grounding. So grounding everything I've just shared, your personal power, the essence of love, the grounding of heart wisdom, heart presence, and then everything built on top of that. And I played it for her, and she was just crying. She was like, I can't wait until the bowls come. And it's never the same. I have over 500 bowls here in the studio, and
Wow.
it's so, now the consultations go online, so they're virtual. So I have clients that are all over the world, but I see the person in front of me. We talk. I get a sense. Okay, so if I back up for a moment,
Sure.
what got me into this whole journey with the bowls was, I've been playing them, as I said, for 15 years. And when I brought them home to Germany, where I was living, my little boy was 7, and he loved the bowls. He was like, "Mommy, mommy, bring me to bed with my sound blanket." And so we'd have this ritual of, I would play particular bowls, and we'd talk about colors, and we'd pray, and I'd guide him in a little meditation, and he would fall asleep. And he loved the sounds of those bowls. And so it's almost going to be 7 years now. He passed away. He was 19.
Mhm.
And it's been a complete journey with him, because come to understand that we were so connected in life. We were very, very close. He's my only child. And on the night that he passed away, I live here now in Los Angeles, and I walked down to the ocean, and I was with a dear friend. My son's name is Dylan, which means born of the sea. And Peter, who was with me, knew Dylan since he was a little boy. He lived in Germany also. And we both looked up at the sky at the same time, and there was this huge shooting star that made this whoosh. I just asked Peter this the other day. I just wanted to know, and I just said, "Did you really see and hear the shooting star?" And he said, "Yeah, yes, yes." And you don't see a shooting star like that in Los Angeles. The city is way too bright. I've seen them in the mountains, but never in the city. And it was this huge upside down smile that seemed to begin. It's the star seemed to begin over my parents' home, where Dylan and I had lived together, and cross the LA basin and land in the mountains behind LA. And I could hear his voice, Liz, just like I heard when I was a small girl, "This will be your path," music. And he was like, "Mom, Mom," because I was in such a shock and a stupor and a just frozen grief, like trying to figure out what could have possibly had happened. And death is death. Like, there's no going back. There's no second chance on that one. It was, he wasn't here anymore. And it was like, "Mom, Mom, it's like we always talked about. I'm home. I'm with God." And I heard this voice in my head, saw that shooting star, which Peter did too, and just went, wait a minute, what's happening here? And that for me was a deep, deep beginning of an opening of what it means to live in this subtle world of sound and what it can do for us. And so that relationship with him has developed now over almost 7 years. It'll be 7 years in March. That this whole thing that I'm living now with the bowls is together with him. And I've come to understand that love is eternal. There truly is no separation. Of course, we're not in physical form anymore, but, and I've come to understand that we have a soul contract that, as much as I would love to have him here and watch him, grow older and fall in love and perhaps have a family or whatever he would do with his life, it's not happening, not this time around. And every time I go in that place of deep sadness about not having a future with him, he's like, Mom, we have a future. It's just different than what you thought, And he was such a jokester. He was he had a big personality. He was 6'3" and 230 pounds. He was an athlete. And, he was big in life, and he's as big as the angel that he is now. And this whole world with the bowls, he's guiding it. And he had an experience when he was just turning 13. He was a part of the Kids Foundation. And so we did productions every year in Germany. And then the money we raised was to help music therapy programs for other children. And so a lot of the children entered this music contest, which is called Jugend musiziert. It's the youth makes music. And the year he entered it, it was singing. So they would have different areas of the contest, whether it was harp or flute or piano or acting. And this year it was singing. And he made it to the semifinals. And a week before his semifinal audition, he came in the room and he goes, Mom, my voice is changing. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. So he's like, what are we going to do? And so I talked with a couple of colleagues. I had never guided as a voice professor. I had never guided a young person through their voice change. But my colleagues said, no, it's possible. And if you can see, like almost above my head, there's a little yellow bowl on the very top shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the bowl he used. It's citrine.
Oh,
And citrine is about your personal power. What I talked about chakra 3, it's the stone of chakra 3. It's about your personal power, your self-esteem, your courage, your confidence. And the note of that little bowl is a G. So it's the note of the throat.
wow.
So we were playing that bowl and his voice stayed open and he did his contest beautifully. And I watched him at such a vulnerable time in his life stand up in front of a huge crowd and say, hi, my name is Dylan. And since 1 week, I'm no longer soprano. And everybody laughed. He had such humor. And it was like, oh my goodness, like it was amazing. And so fast forward after he passed away, 5 months after he passed away, he started going, Mom, call the bowl dudes.
Wow.
Call the bowl dudes. We're going to do sound healing. And I'm like, son, leave me alone. I'm grieving you. Leave me alone. And it was like, Mom, call the bowl dudes. We're going to do sound healing. And that's really how this journey that I'm sitting with these crystal bowls in this manner and teaching and doing all the things that have happened started. That was kind of a long, but it's taught me so much, Liz. Like, to understand there's a purpose bigger than us. There's a life plan, a soul contract that's bigger than what we might think and want in this human form. And if we can open to that, life takes on a whole new radiance.
Well said, Jeralyn. Beautiful. And how beautiful to continue that relationship from across the veil. I got goosebumps when you were telling me the story about the shooting star and hearing him and how real that felt and how heart opening and moving. That was beautiful. And how he continues to have this relationship with you. And I've heard you discuss how he's guiding you, every step of the way, how you're in this symbiotic relationship where he's on the other side and you're here, and you're able to live this life together and create together still.
It's pretty wild, and when I was really deep in the throes of the grief and angry and just, in pain, I couldn't find him. When the grief was so intense, I could not find him. But when I was able to open to a little bit of positive anything, we could connect. And when he said to me, Mom, call the bowl dudes, I called Crystal Tones and spoke with one of the owners, and I told him what happened. And I chose 11 bowls. So, and I didn't know deeply what I know now. I just knew that I loved the bowls and I loved their sounds and I loved the little citrine that Dylan loved. But I chose alchemies that I thought could connect me to him. So I chose celestite, I chose selenite, which is grounded white light. I chose rose quartz for the heart. I chose ruby for transformation. I chose charcoal for clearing grief. And when those 11 bowls came, I started to play and I gravitated towards the selenite. And I started to play that bowl. I'll never forget this. And there was suddenly a misty white presence in the room. So I could feel him in a way that I had never felt him. And I'm playing this bowl. And as I said earlier, that bowl sounded like nails on a chalkboard. It was excruciating, the sound, until I began to recognize, oh my goodness, that's me. That bowl is reflecting me, what I can't get out. And I had been in, grief therapy, 2 hours a shot, 3 times a week, and it was helping, but it wasn't really moving it. And I started to play that selenite bowl, grounded white light. I felt this connection with him. I felt him guiding me, and I started to keen and groan and scream and cry in a way that I had not been able to do. And I remember getting up to go wash my face because it went on like 50 minutes. And I looked in my eyes and there was light. And I went, oh my, this beloved boy of mine is showing me what sound healing means. Like there it was in my own body with this one bowl that just sounded so bad. And it was helping to go into those crevices that I could not, with my conscious mind, feel. It's just like you go, no, no, too much, too much. And there it was. The sound took me in there in a very gentle way, and he was with me, and bingo, it started to express. And I'd say that was the beginning of really this space of recognizing sound is going to be my medicine. And the doctor said to me, why don't we put you on an antidepressant? And I was like, why? Why that? I mean, and it's needed. When it's needed, it's needed. But nothing was going to change the fact that Dylan was gone. He was gone from this physical plane. And if I couldn't feel that and process that, I was never going to heal. I would never be able to, as I said to myself, I don't want to get out of my bed. I'm done. I'm done. And that sound just showed me, okay, there's really a different way. And if I have the strength, if the sound can create for us, which it does, which it did for me, and it does, I see it now every single day, it creates a safe container. And in that container, we feel comforted. As Dylan used to say, Mommy, bring me to bed with my sound blanket. It's a sound blanket that creates safety. So you drop in, and before you recognize what's happening, you're breathing and feeling something that you deemed to be unfeelable. Or perhaps it's something subconscious that you don't even recognize is in there, but there's gunk from trauma, there's gunk from physical injury, there's gunk from rejection, from wounding, whatever it may be. And the sound just goes in and it gently lifts whatever that vibration is, or it can cut through it like a laser. There's sometimes that bowls, will just get this really piercing sound, and then I know, oof, they're going in there and they're cutting through something.
Wow.
It has changed my life, and it has opened a relationship that I'm not sure I ever thought could be possible. I thought I had lost my son. And he laughs, like even when we're talking now, he's just laughing. It's like, Mom, if you could teach people that there is always love. Remind them there's love. And whether it's here that I'm hugging you or whether I'm hugging you, in an internal way, I hear him and see him all the time. It's just something I don't know. I never imagined my life would be this. And when I say to him, son, this can't be our sole contract. Like, I don't remember signing that contract. And he laughs and he says, Mom, it's the bigger picture of our life together. It's the bigger picture of our connection. And I always say to him, when I see you again, we're going to have a talk about that. But in all seriousness, he couldn't do what he's doing with me now. He couldn't do it in his earthly form. He couldn't do it. And that selenite bowl, that first bowl, taught me there is a bridge between heaven and earth, and that bridge is love. And sound is love, as I said earlier. It's music is love in search of a word. It's that. And when we find that, Liz, everything changes.
Wow. I love that. Music is love in search of a word.
Yeah.
Being a mother of four, I can't even imagine the immeasurable grief that you were going through. And what a beautiful gift to receive those singing bowls and be able to sit with that singing bowl and have that vibration move that energy and that grief through your body to assist you in that. What a beautiful healing, Jeralyn. Wow.
We can't push it away. And, that's every parent's nightmare that you get a phone call like that. And it's like, it wasn't going to be my life, certainly not my beautiful boy. He was funny, he was talented, he was an athlete, smart, it just, no. And then to recognize, okay, what is the bigger picture? And then to learn and understand this whole quantum world of sound, that there are some bowls that are very, very grounding. So they're going to help to connect us to the deep truth of who we are. There's some bowls that are centering. They're going to help to really bring us home and feel anchored and present and joyful inside our own bodies and happy with ourselves. And then there's some bowls that are going to be very accelerating, that are going to help us open to the bigger picture, open to bliss, open to our connection with God, whatever that may be for each of us. And it's important to understand we are so different. Everyone has their own vibrational signature. All four of your kids, I'm sure you would tell me, like, they're so different. They have similarities, but they're all really different. And how beautiful when we can celebrate that, rather than trying to make all of us be the same, but to really
Yeah.
celebrate the differences and find, where do we create harmony? How can I make this symphony of sound in my relationships, in my music? How can I create that deep sense of abiding harmony? And whether we go through dissonances, they're going to resolve into something that's in balance, something that brings us a stability. So for all of us to be able to negotiate these times that are just, they're unprecedented,
Mm-hmm.
certainly in our lifetime.
Definitely. I love how you're comparing us to a bowl and how we can vibrate in the world
We
and
have
what
to.
vibrational expression that we want to put out into the world and express into the world. And how is that going to ripple out into the world?
Each one of us has a gift, and there's nothing more rewarding to me. I mean, I saw my teacher do it when I was a young girl, to really imprint upon me that I had a vibrational signature. She didn't name it that at that time, but and that it's important that each of us listen to that and do our best to develop what that is and say yes to it, instead of stuffing it down and just saying I'm going to go ahead in the way that is expected of me, or I think I'm supposed to do. Because when you allow that inner light to get ignited, you're passionate. It's what my dad said, if I could find what I really love to do and do what I love, he said, you'll be successful. That's such an important ingredient, that you can really love what you're doing and have the ability to do what you love. So
Gosh,
it's
that's beautiful
yeah.
and so true. If only all of us could have that support. And if we didn't, how can we support ourselves, to live that way in our own lives, to find something that brings us joy, that lights us up, and living our life from those spaces, and how would that change us, right?
Yeah,
I
and
know when I'm
when
doing my work, I'm feeling that. Go ahead.
no, um, as I said, when I fell into depression and sadness and poor me and the victim and all that stuff, I couldn't find anything, and so it's just taking that one little step, as you said, like you love what you do and your podcast is amazing. And so you've created this community and this experience for people that's one of a kind. It's your vibration. Everything you are as a mother, as a human being, as a partner, like it's that. And that alone is a gift. And I've also come to realize like when you're living that, your love, your passion, your integrity amplifies. So it's touching people all around the world, whether you recognize it or not. Somebody may come home from work and not get in a fight with their partner simply because it is a reflection and an amplification of these positive vibrations that Liz in Washington is, amplifying.
Yes, I love that. Love
It's
that,
really
Jeralyn.
important when we think, oh, we don't matter. And again, especially now, many of us are isolated and home alone, and so you kind of think, oh, what's the point? And there's been a lot of just people really retracting and really coming inside, and it's like, no, no. It matters what we think. It matters what we do. It all really matters. That we can find that place of the inner light and we can find that place of joy. What brings you joy?
Mhm. Yes. And each individual is so important, needed in the fabric of life for sure, to be part of the weave as we create this tapestry that we're living, right? And bumping into each other, just the little smile or gleam in the eye or the big things. Yeah, they all matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can sound healing benefit our healing process even further? Can you dive even deeper into that for us?
I mean, there's a couple of things. Simply by consciously listening to music that uplifts you, whether it's I'm so excited and I just can't hide it, whether it's an old Pointer Sister song or it's, I don't know, Amazing Grace or whatever it is that you love, and it can be a classical symphony, whatever it is that you allow music to be a part of your daily life and switch it up. How do I feel when I put on an R&B song and I get down and get funky, or how do I feel when I, even the Super Bowl is coming up, so how do I feel when I hear the Star Spangled Banners, or what kinds of music moves me? That's one thing, and to integrate that into your life. And another big thing that one of my mentors is Jonathan Goldman, and he
Love
and his
him.
wife Andy. Jonathan pioneered so much in the world of sound healing for all of us. And coming up on February 14th is his World Sound Healing Day. I think it's the 19th year, where we all join together in vibration. And we'll be offering a special Sonic Valentine sound bath for that. And I've invited some colleagues that play the Tibetan bowls. So we're going to have a dialogue between the Tibetan bowls and the crystal bowls.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, it's going to be super
That's
cool.
exciting.
But on that day is really a conscious celebration. It's giving a sonic Valentine to Mother Gaia. But what I was going to say is Jonathan and Andy have worked a lot now with humming, and they have a beautiful book called The Humming Effect. So for people like, if you find, I don't know, if you find you're laying in bed before you get up and you just, there's a heaviness, I put my hand on my heart, put my hand on my belly, and I just connect them with a hum.
Hmm.
You can slide the hum. But I consciously give my body vibration with my own signature. So our hum, many people will say to me, you're a voice professor, but I can't sing. and it's like, you don't have to sing, but you can hum. Every single human being can hum and make their own vibration. So to hum every day is also a great thing. And if you find that you're feeling stressed or anxious, or you just need a moment to just calm and slow your mind down, you just sit. You close your eyes. You can allow your eyes to roll down, or you can roll your eyes upwards when they're closed. That activates the third eye. There's many things you can do with the hum, but simply those two things, to invite more and more music, to explore music and find what vibrations we've been talking about inspire you, what feels good to you, and to work with your own hum.
Oh, I
The
love that.
two wonderful things that everyone can do.
And I love Jonathan and Andy. And I love that you're going to be doing something for the sound healing event that's coming up. That's great. I very much looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah, it's going to be quite fun. It's Sonic Valentine, and really about music of the heart. And I think it's interesting for people to experience what do the and these friends are masters. They have 300 to 500-year-old Tibetan bowls. It's a totally different thing. And then the crystal bowls. And it's important that we don't judge, that we say what feels good to us right now. And it might be to hear the metal bowls, and then it might be to uplift in a different way with the crystalline bowls. It's they're all good. It's all good, and finding what feels best to you is very important. Yeah.
Yeah. And any way we can lift ourselves out of those lower vibration emotions. I know that when I'm working with clients, my healing business, when we dip into judgment and other lower vibrational emotions, our grief and that sort of thing, there really is a drop, in the energetics of the body, like a pulling down feeling, a dropping down of the energy. And when you switch that and you bring in the bowls, or you bring in the humming, like you said, or you bring in the sound, or even just switch, flip the switch from that emotion of judgment to love, it automatically, just switching it to love, increases the vibration, so to speak, that energy. It's really a lifting up of the energy, instead of, when you're in that space of judgment or whatever, the energy is really falling down, right? So to be able to have these tools to be able to lift, that energy back up again, to be able to open ourselves, open our hearts, and even in the switch from judgment to love, or, when we're waking up and we're feeling tired, to start humming or listening to music or something like that, or playing the singing bowls, and it just opens up your heart and like increases and lifts up the energy, right? Increases that vibration, right, so to speak. So it really is a beautiful experience to be able to lift ourselves out of those spaces, for sure.
And we can do it. That's the thing. I
Yeah.
think we're so geared to look to someone else or something outside of us to really help. And of course, that's important also. But I've come to understand the inherent power that's inside me. And that what happens when I really tune into my inner voice, to that vibration that I've heard since I'm a young girl. And I would encourage all the listeners to tune in. What does it mean to finally tune in to your own vibration, to you, to your own inner voice, and to listen to that and take action on that? It's that's really important. And we created some years ago. Dylan inspired me to create a YouTube channel, and so it's the Crystal Cadence by Jeralyn Glass YouTube channel. And there's what I put actually last year on World Sound Healing Day on February 14th. I created a loop. It's the first ever Crystal Alchemy singing bowl loop. So it's 2 hours, and I made two of them. So there's one that's for the chakra system and one for the endocrine system. And the idea was that anyone, because the crystal bowls are not inexpensive, that anyone can have access to all those free meditations, and especially the two loops. Wherever you are in the world, you just need an internet connection and somehow to listen to it. And the idea was that you could play it while you're cooking, play it while you're studying, play it while you're just hanging out, play it in the bathtub. however you use music when you're exercising, but that you get this infusion of what I call the sacred sound. The and the way I'm playing it is very it's harmonic in a very intentional way, and there's intentions behind what I'm playing. So those two loops are available, and there's a
Awesome.
whole bunch of stuff available on the YouTube channel that people can integrate particular themed meditations. And as you asked me before, how do those sets come together? There have been times where I'll just get a deep inspiration from Dylan. Mom, put the purple bowl together for her. Okay, and then we add that one, and they're all the sets that you'll find on the YouTube. They're all different and they're all beautiful, and they all do something unique for our human system.
Amazing. Can you give us a little taste of the singing bowls for a couple
Sure,
minutes? Awesome.
sure.
Oh,
So
look at them. They're all so beautiful.
yeah, this is a gorgeous set. This is an endocrine system set that has a beautiful binaural beat in it. So I'll just play. So I will invite everyone, if they'd like, to close their eyes. If you're in a comfortable place, and just allow your breath to begin to slow down. And then go ahead and set an intention. I invite you to set an intention for your day, for your week, whatever's been up for you. Letting go of something, receiving something, your personal intention. And allow it to be held in the safe container of sound. Sound vibration is always present. It is truly what we are made of. I invite you to feel that love, that vibration of love that you are. And gently rubbing the palms of your hands together to generate heat. Feeling that electric energy that you are. I invite you to stroke your hands through your hair, your scalp, tenderly caress your cheeks, and begin to tap your chest, your belly, your hips, your thighs, and then gently stretching and opening your eyes. And that is a mini sound bath experience for your endocrine system, balancing your body's chemistry. Well, thank you, Liz.
That was lovely, Jeralyn. Beautiful. Thank you so much. What a gift. And I love how wonderfully that came through. I know so often we can have trouble with sound, but that was amazing.
Yay.
That was beautiful. How can people reach you to work with you, Jeralyn?
Our website is Crystal Cadence, and there's a lot of information on the website. So we have trainings, advanced trainings, beginner trainings, working with the crystal bowls and what's the science behind it, what's the theory behind it, and how do we practice that. So there's that. We offer Sacred Science of Sound, so that's a platform that I've built, and that we offer conversations. So look on the website for that. They can join us, join our mailing list, so they'll be informed of what's happening. You get 2 free downloads of music when you do that. And there's a new class that's starting with the Shift Network. The Sound Healing Circle of Wonder and Delight is happening. That's a 2 times a month, monthly sound baths online wherever you are in the world. And then you get to keep those in your library. And on the 14th, and then on Instagram, we're Crystal Cadence LA, and the YouTube channel that I mentioned. So would love to stay in touch with your guests. So thank you for having me.
That's wonderful. You also have an app coming up, don't you?
Yes, so we do have an app coming out. So there is, thank you for reminding me, there is a Sacred Science of Sound app that'll be coming out in the spring. That is, I'm so excited about. It will be conversations, it will be master classes, there will be music, there's transmissions, there's lullabies also for children. It's going to be a beautiful app of where does sound, where does the healing power of music, where does energy medicine, bioenergetics, quantum physics, how do all those intersect? Where do they intersect? And we'll keep you posted. That'll be coming out. Sacred Science Sound app, and it's called Source.
Oh, awesome. I'm looking forward to it. That's great. And I really enjoy your newsletter too. So I recommend, if you're interested in Jeralyn and her work, sign up for her newsletter, and it'll keep you informed about all the yummy, juicy sound healing things that she has coming up. Jeralyn, thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz.
This has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you and having you on the show. Thank you.
Thank you. My joy.
And thank you everyone for joining me today. I'm Liz Peterson, and this is Raise the Vibe with Liz. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Raise the Vibe with Liz, and also at my website, lizshealingtouch.com. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, and remember to get out there and raise the vibe. Bye, everyone.